Hello sports fans, it is Monday, May the 5th, 2014, and as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. I hope you guys had a great weekend, hope you caught some of the games over the weekend. Let's recap what went on in the sports world the last few days. Let's start in the NBA, let's start in the Eastern Conference where the Brooklyn Nets went into Toronto yesterday and beat the Raptors in Game 7, so Brooklyn goes on to the second round where they will meet Miami. I'll tell you, this was a wild, wild game. First of all, the fans in Toronto yesterday were tremendous. They were absolutely great inside the arena and outside. Brooklyn did everything in their power to try and give this game away. Brooklyn had a 10-point lead for most of this game, and then they started to melt down. Bad turnovers, fouls, Garnett gets a technical. The next thing you know, you look up and Toronto is down 1 point with the ball with a chance to win the game. Paul Pierce has the huge block, saves the day, so Brooklyn advances to the second round. Like I said, they will play Miami. Miami swept Charlotte weeks ago. Miami's been sitting around doing nothing. Very interesting series, Brooklyn and Miami. Brooklyn actually won the season series 4-0. They actually match up well with Miami. Still, you got to go with Miami there. I mean, I'm sure Brooklyn's going to win a game or two. I'll be rooting for Brooklyn. I like rooting for the underdog. I can't see Brooklyn beating Miami, so that is round 2. Also, Indiana finally showed some signs of life. They beat Atlanta in Game 7 in Indiana. Indiana will now play Washington. Washington, of course, dusted off Chicago. Very interesting series, Washington and Indiana. What are you going to get from Indiana? They look like a championship team the first half of the year. They're stumbling and bumbling at the end of the season. They barely beat the 8-seed Atlanta Hawks here in a 7-game series. You're still waiting for Indiana to respond. I mean, I want to believe in Indiana. They have a lot of talent. I like the team, but I mean, they just don't look like a championship contender. And Washington looked really good in the last round, so that's a very interesting series. Over to the Western Conference we go. San Antonio just blew out Dallas yesterday in San Antonio. I mean, this game was over early. San Antonio bombed Dallas. They won by like 150 points. This game was never close. So San Antonio moves on to the next round. They will play Portland. Portland, of course, knocked off Houston, had that big buzzer beater in Game 6 to win that series. Very interesting series, Portland and San Antonio. You got Portland, the young guns, a lot of young talent, Aldridge, Lillard, and then you got San Antonio, the old guard. You're always waiting for San Antonio to just get old, but they never do. They keep reinventing themselves. Tim Duncan is ageless. Popovich is a great coach. Throwing Ginobili, Parker, all the role players. Very interesting series there, Portland and San Antonio. And also in the West, the Clippers beat Golden State in Game 7. Of course, Sterling is out as owner. We'll keep an eye on who takes over the team there. And the Clippers will play Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City beat Memphis also in a Game 7. So you have the Clippers in Oklahoma City. That is a very nice series. Should be a lot of running and gunning. Should be some high-scoring games in that series. So you got some compelling stuff in the NBA. I mean, when you look at the series, Brooklyn, Miami, it's compelling. Brooklyn's won, all 4 games in the regular season. Washington, Indiana, we'll keep an eye on how Indiana's playing. They've been struggling. Clippers in Oklahoma City should be a Wild West shootout. And then San Antonio, Portland, the young against the old. So the NBA, still a lot of drama left in these playoffs. That's where you are in the NBA playoffs. Let's quickly go over to the NHL. Let's start in the East. The Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Rangers last night 3-0. That series is 1-1. Quick turnaround. They go back to Madison Square Garden tonight. Keep an eye on the Rangers tonight. They are going home, but are they getting fatigued? They played a tough 7-game series against the Flyers. They've had very little rest. Now they're playing another 3 games in 4 nights. They just played yesterday. They're changing cities. Keep an eye on that. They are home at the Garden. They play well in the Garden. But are they getting fatigued? Pittsburgh won 3-0 last night. The series is 1-1. Very interesting series. Also, Boston rallied the other day to beat Montreal and even up that series 1-1. Back to Montreal we go. I absolutely love this series. 2 classic old-time rivals. Love seeing these 2 teams play. I could watch these teams play 100 games. That's your Eastern Conference. Over to the West. The Blackhawks are up 2-0 on Minnesota. They look very impressive. The Blackhawks, of course, won the Cup last year. Minnesota did do a nice job getting out of the first round. They beat Colorado, but they are in all kinds of trouble here against Chicago. Also, LA and Anaheim. LA won Game 1, even though I thought Anaheim had the better of the play. LA actually pulled the game out, so LA is up 1-0. It's funny, LA came back from 3-0 against San Jose, and I want to get this in. how bad is San Jose again? How bad has San Jose again come up in the playoffs? Is there another hockey team that comes up any smaller than San Jose? They had a 3-0 lead against LA and blew the series. And this is not the first time they've melted down the playoffs. They have a history of this. They change coaches, it's the same thing. They change players, it's the same thing. San Jose must drive their fans absolutely crazy. To be up 3-0 against the Kings and the way they handled them in the first 3 games, especially the first 2 games, which are absolutely blowouts, and then to come back and lose 4 straight to your rival Kings. Terrible job by the San Jose Sharks. I mean, I don't know how much of this is mental now. You get some of these franchises where they're looking for things to go wrong, like the Cubs, and they usually do. Takes a lot to get out of that. The Red Sox got out of that, and look at them. They've won 3 World Series in the last 10 years. But San Jose, I mean, they just cannot get out of this funk they're in. Every single year they have a big regular season and they fall flat on their face in the playoffs. So San Jose, again, a terrible job. LA came back and won that series, and now LA up 1-0 against Anaheim. I still think this is going to be a long series. I think it's going to be a good series. I'm still picking Anaheim in this series. I thought Anaheim had the better of the play in the first game. Even though LA won, I would expect Anaheim to win game 2. So that is where you are in your NHL. As far as your Major League Baseball, as far as the American League, let's start in the American League East. Yankees are in first, but Baltimore, Tampa Bay, Boston, and Toronto are all within 2.5 games, so the whole division is within 2.5 games. In the Central, Detroit looks like the class of the division. Everyone else is under 500. The West, I love the Oakland A's, really nice team. Texas has a decent team. The Angels are around 500. As far as the National League, the East, Atlanta right now is leading the East. Washington, the Mets, and Philly, and the Marlins all over 500. So right now, a very strong division. As far as the Central, how about the Milwaukee Brewers? 21-11, and Braun has been hurt. They are the surprise of baseball. St. Louis and Cincinnati around 500. And I'll tell you who's the disappointment of baseball. Pittsburgh, 12-19. They are playing miserable ball right now. Milwaukee and Pittsburgh to me are reversed. I thought Pittsburgh would be in first and Milwaukee would be 12-19. Not so fast, but there is a long way to go in the baseball season. As far as the West, San Francisco playing lights out ball, 20-11. Colorado 19-14. They have a good home field advantage. They're playing decent ball. Dodgers 18-14. You expect them to be good. Kershaw will be back soon. As far as the Kentucky Derby, the favorite wins. California Chrome wins. Not much drama in this race. He kind of dominated the race. He was the favorite. I was a little surprised he won. Usually the favorites don't win. First horse from California to win since 1962. That's a lot of history, so I did not think he was going to win. They're talking about him for the Triple Crown. I mean, we've been over this before. I mean, I'd love to see a Triple Crown winner, but there's a long way to go. Have to win the Preakness, and then that Belmont, which is just, I mean, it's such a difficult race. The horses are not used to going that distance, so we'll keep an eye on that. I will be rooting for the horse. I would like to see a Triple Crown winner. How about the crowd in Kentucky? Second largest crowd in history. What was it, 164,000? I also love what they did in Kentucky. They put that big video screen up so all the people in the infield could watch the race. That is a tremendous idea by the people in Kentucky. I like that the people in the infield can now watch the race on the big screen. Kentucky Derby, always a fun event. 2 weeks to go for the Preakness. As far as boxing, Mayweather beat Maidana. This was not your typical Mayweather fight. It was a little closer, although I thought Mayweather won. Maidana did fight a hard game fight. I thought Mayweather was the clear winner here. One judge had it even. The other 2 judges had it clearly for Mayweather. I had Mayweather winning. Talk of a rematch. I mean, I don't know who I want Mayweather to fight other than Pacquiao, which we're never going to get. They're talking about Mayweather-Khan. They're talking about a rematch here. See, if I think they had a rematch here, Mayweather and Maidana, I think Mayweather would win even easier in the next fight. But, I mean, like I said, who do you want Mayweather to fight? You want him to fight Pacquiao, but that's never going to happen. You get excited about Mayweather-Khan? I mean, I know Khan looked good over the weekend, but, I mean, you can't get excited about him. He's got a glass jaw. He always comes up small in big fights. So I would still want to see Mayweather-Pacquiao, but we're never going to get that. So maybe Mayweather with a rematch here against Maidana. Doesn't excite me too much, although other people will be excited about it. Maybe Mayweather-Khan, so I did catch some boxing over the weekend. Okay, you guys are all caught up. Tonight you have a big sports night. You have Washington and Indiana. and the LA Clippers and Oklahoma City in the NBA, and in hockey, Pittsburgh and the Rangers, a big game 3, and LA Anaheim, a big game 2. We'll see if Anaheim can even up that series. Tremendous night in the sports world. I mean, a lot of big games tonight. You're going to have big games now for a while in the NHL and the NBA. Of course, you always have your Major League Baseball. Okay, you guys are all set. You guys, thanks for the support. I will be back with you guys soon. Enjoy the games. Stay happy and healthy. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.